TANYA Bastianich Manwali.
Thank you.
Yes.
You say that beautifully.
Well, it comes out like a song.
Oh,
I think we need to
Italian
put a
song.
rhythm to that. We do. Italian, a little bit?
A little bit.
Really?
It's a chopping rhythm if you're going to put something to it.
I like it. I think we need that in the kitchen.
A little music. Oh, music and wine is definitely a requirement in the kitchen.
Well, and for any Burgh Vivant interview, typically we have our Burgh Vivant martinis, but today we have some samplings of Bastianich wine.
That's right, our Friulano.
How appropriate here in Lydia's Pittsburgh. It's always such a treat to come here.
Thank you so much. We love being here. I think Pittsburgh is a phenomenal city.
It's a big food city.
Yes, oh definitely, and new restaurants popping up every day, every
Yeah.
minute.
What do you think of the food scene here? Do you get out much?
I do. When I come down, I try and see what's going on for personal and business purposes, but I think it's in the past year, I've seen really a lot of things opening up. I don't know, sort of what the success rate is or isn't, but I think that it's really alive.
Now, we had Mama Bastianich,
Yes.
Lydia, on the show
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
We had a delight chatting with her. Actually, she was promoting a book at the time, the Common Sense cooking book, which I believe you had a hand
Yes,
in.
I write her books with Lydia, and this is the first book, Healthy Pasta with Joe. But yes, Common Sense is very Lydia because she does things and it's really just common sense.
So we've got the Bastianich food and wine empire.
No.
We've got yourself,
No,
we've
we
got
just-
Lydia, we've got Joe. What's it like cooking in the kitchen with all these personalities?
Oh, we're never in the kitchen all together. That's
That would be
bad,
tough.
bad,
That
bad,
would be
bad.
tough.
But it's great working with your family. First of all, you all really have the same goal, right?
Right.
And you really believe in your brand because it's your family name. Joe and I had a blast doing this book, promoting this book. We haven't been together this much since we were kids, and it's been a load of fun. Really.
So working on a book together might be a little more feasible than working in the kitchen together on a recipe together.
Definitely, yeah.
So what we're going to chat about is healthy pasta, the sexy, skinny, and smart way to eat your favorite
right.
food.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for writing a book on this. Really, because that's what everybody thinks about. Carbs have been so maligned lately.
Right. You're not the only one. I think people are responding so positively because, they're saying, well, what, I can eat pasta? Really? I've been told, don't eat any carbs. And there, if you think about Italy, people eat pasta there every day. They look fabulous. They have none of the obesity problems.
Do you remember Sophia Loren's famous
Oh,
quote?
that's right.
Everything
Yeah,
you see, I owe to spaghetti.
Yeah, and she's right. She's right because it depends how you cook it and how you. We like to say put a condiment to the pasta. In America, pasta is really oversauced, and it's oversauced with heavy laden sauces.
yeah.
So if you consider cooking pasta like tossing salad. So you have your pasta and you have your skillet sauce generally, if it's not a baked pasta, and you mix them together in the skillet. It's kind of like dressing pasta.
Ah, yes. Rather than just kind of heaping it together at the
Or,
end.
the worst is when you see people have a plate of pasta and they just plop the sauce on top. I mean, then you have white pasta underneath with sauce on top. That's very un-Italian. Nobody would ever do that in Italy.
Now, what do you think about, I guess now we see a lot of alternate pastas like the wheat, the whole grain versus kind of the standard pastas.
I'm all for it. I think that, you have to eat what you like. Of course, there are people with celiac disease, so that's a gluten-free issue. And this book has a recipe that you can cook at home, make your own gluten-free pasta. When you cook it, you have to watch it a little carefully because it goes from being undercooked to falling apart in the pot. So you have to pay a lot of attention to gluten-free pasta.
Right.
I am a big proponent of, if you're going to buy durum wheat pasta, buy a good quality durum wheat pasta. And what do I mean by that? I mean, spend an extra 25 cents a box. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for, because if you read the side of the box, the more protein the pasta has, the better quality durum wheat was used, and the more protein you get in your pasta.
We need to think about it a little more,
Yes,
and I
yes.
imagine this book will help us with that. The Bastianich family knows how to do a cookbook. I mean, I just look at the pictures.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to read this before I go to bed, and this is
And then
amazing.
you'll be hungry in
well,
bed.
right.
Don't do it.
But the presentation, I think, is a big part of any meal, and you have a fascinating background in art.
Yes, that's my
So,
first love.
I think a lot with your approach, art must coincide with cooking. And in the presentation, with pasta especially, it's always tough because it kind of just comes out in the pan. I find presentation to be a little challenge for me when it comes to pasta. What can I
Right.
do to make
Well,
my
it's
pasta
about
look nice?
loving your pasta more. So,
Yeah.
when you eat with all your senses. It's your taste, but it has to smell good, it has to look good. So how you present it is really important.
Right.
So by instead of dumping the pasta out in a strainer, this is the first step, very important. It has nothing to do with plating yet, but it's important. Use a spider and spider it out, like a bamboo spider, and put it into the saute pan. And then fold it into the sauce you've cooked. So it all gets nicely coated, first of all. So now it's going to all have the same sort of beautiful color and tone. So now you're one step ahead of having a nice plate of pasta. And then you ladle it out, or get yourself a cooking spoon and ladle it out and put it nicely in the bottom, and then put it around, and then take a paper towel and clean the edge of your towel. Now, if you have a long pasta, use tongs and twirl it so that you make like a little bird's nest. It looks beautiful and it keeps the heat of the pasta. So you do have to pay attention to how you plate, because you're going to present it to somebody, and that's part of eating.
I think what you've really just taught me is that loving my pasta really is loving myself.
Absolutely, and whoever you're cooking it for.
This is getting a little emotional. This is wonderful.
But everybody loves pasta. That's the point of the book.
They do. And it's not something to be scared of when it comes to the carbohydrates and the calories. So this is one, and really, I flipped through this. Everything's very simple. It's something anybody can do.
Yes, and honestly, the slight changes in your cooking technique, you can apply to pastas you make that are not in this book. It's about adding smart fat. So using the oil at the end, using your cooking pasta water to cook, adding the cheeses at the end, and use a good cheese to grate at the end, like Grana Padano. But if you're going to bake pasta, use the part skim mozzarella. It's going to save you, and nobody's going to know the difference. For me, Italian food is about the ingredients, and so I'm inspired when it's really authentic. And then you can make it for modern living. That's a little bit about this book, right? So it's about eating something authentic Italian pasta, but you're not going to make lasagna bolognese. A, who has the time all the time? B, you can't eat like that. Now, if somebody put one in front of me, you better be sure I'm going to eat it, because it took a lot of effort and it's delicious.
I'm with you.
But for modern living, you can't eat like that all the time. So that's what I find thrilling when I go to Italy. I find those really authentic products, and their taste is so pure, but if you can use them in a modern way without destroying or disrupting the actual authentic flavor, then that is exciting.
Now, for a healthy, balanced diet, how many times a week can we get away with pasta?
Oh, well, the Italians would tell you every night.
How's your family?
I abandoned my children to be here tonight.
Oh.
They're big now.
Thank you. We appreciate your sacrifice.
No. They're big. My son Lorenzo's 15 and my daughter's Julia, and she's 12. So they're
wonderful.
pretty big and self-sufficient, even in making food for themselves.
Beautiful names.
Oh, thank you. I was an art historian, so
Yes.
I actually named them. We lived in Florence for a while, my husband and I, for Lorenzo and Giuliano de' Medici, so Lorenzo and Giulia. Lorenzo for Lorenzo de' Medici, but I only later found out that St. Lawrence is the patron saint of chefs. So it's perfect. And his story is that he was martyred on a grill, basically. He was grilled to death.
Well, if you're a chef, that's the way to go. Wow.
Yeah, these beautiful frescoes of him laid out sort of on a barbecue with flames, jumping everywhere.
Do we need one of those here at Lydia's?
No, we're going to pass.
Now, didn't that just happen to some guy at the Bumblebee tuna plant recently? Did you read about that? It was
I did
terrible.
not, no.
Yeah. Oh, don't read about
No.
it then. No.